European leaders did not mince words when it came to Vladimir Putin, and it surely rattled the Kremlin. These were not diplomatic niceties, they were sharp, direct critiques. French President Emmanuel Macron called Putin a bloodthirsty ogre, painting Russia as a long-standing destabilizing force and a predator at Europe's doorstep. He warned that Russia, with over 40% of its budget invested in military equipment and an army of more than 1.3 million men, isn't about to suddenly become peaceful or democratic. This stark reality sets the tone for how seriously Europe sees the threat. Macron's blunt words came after a closed-door meeting with President Trump, Ukrainian President Zelensky, and other European leaders. Although details remain mostly confidential, the leaders' interviews afterward give us some insights into their consensus. Macron reaffirmed the urgent need for a ceasefire. The killing must stop first, not just for humanitarian reasons, but to pave the way for genuine, comprehensive peace talks. Yet he acknowledged the huge challenge. Negotiating peace in the middle of ongoing bombardments and civilian suffering is nearly impossible. Russian strikes on Ukrainian cities continue even as talks happen, making it hard for Ukrainian leaders, elected to protect their people, to negotiate calmly or fairly. Macron and other European leaders pressed Trump to intensify pressure on Putin for a ceasefire right now. The European chorus is united in demanding that the weapons must fall silent if real negotiations are to begin. Trump proposed a ceasefire early in 2025, and Zelensky accepted a conditional ceasefire in parts of Donbass in March, but Putin has consistently refused. Now, Trump and Macron both signal a shift. They are pushing not just a ceasefire, but a full peace deal, a process that will take time, possibly weeks, with a needed temporary halt to the killings, which Macron terms a truce rather than a ceasefire. The emphasis is clear. Ending slaughter must be the first step toward peace. One crucial point raised by the European leaders is that Ukraine must never be forced to give up territory to bring peace. The war started with Russia's invasion. Ukraine is fighting for its survival. If Russia stops fighting, the war ends. If Ukraine stops fighting, Ukraine ceases to exist as a free nation. Therefore, pressure must be placed on Russia to cease its invasion, to respect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. These are not just political slogans, they are the foundation of international law and human dignity. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio echoed this, stressing that every sovereign nation has the right to security alliances, not just with NATO, but with other partners, just as South Korea and Japan do. Remarkably, under pressure from Trump, Russia has for the first time accepted the idea that post-conflict Ukraine can enter security agreements with other nations. Work is already underway to build such security guarantees with global allies to ensure Ukraine's safety going forward. Rubio emphasized that the best security guarantee for Ukraine is a strong military, not mere handouts of weapons or money, but sale agreements financed through NATO partners, guaranteeing a sustainable defense beyond foreign aid. Yet Russia is furious about Ukraine's newfound freedom to choose its security partners. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov bluntly warned that Ukraine abandons neutrality and pursues alliances with other countries, it will lose its independence and cease to be a sovereign state. This chilling statement openly threatens Ukraine's very existence. Behind these official postures lie the real motives of Putin's regime. For years, Moscow has maintained that Ukraine's independence must exist as long as it remains within Russia's sphere of influence, an old imperial mindset now exposed as a justification for invasion and subjugation. Today, Putin's regime explicitly denies Ukraine's right to self-determination and statehood if it chooses a path independent of Russian control. The invasion and all the false justifications, whether NATO threat, protection of Russian speakers, or defense of the Orthodox Church, are merely smokescreens concealing this harsh reality. European leaders, familiar with Putin's tactics from past encounters, remain resolute. They know from history and experience that peace agreements without credible security guarantees are meaningless. Without such guarantees, any deal risks repeating the mistakes of appeasement seen in the past, like Chamberlain's concessions to Hitler. The sobering lesson from Georgia and Crimea is that territorial concessions only embolden aggression. As Finnish leaders point out, statehood rests on three pillars: independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. While Finland lost some territory in its wars but maintained sovereignty, Ukraine is not alone today, and the global community must stand firm in defending its right to exist as a free sovereign nation. Security guarantees are essential to reinforce Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity and to prevent any repeat of history. This moment in history demands unwavering support for Ukraine's independence and a clear-eyed understanding of Putin's true ambitions. The battle for Ukraine's future is also a battle for the principles that underpin the post-World War II international order, principles that Europe and its allies must defend with conviction.